Welcome back. You are listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on AM 1170. The Answer. My name is Kyle Whissel, your host with Whissel Realty. Joined as always by Mr. Jason Hall with Synergy One Lending and special guest John Medin, also with Synergy One Lending, the rehab home loan expert. Steve Lauria, Executive Director, California Health Network, rehabbing people's lifestyles, rehabbing people's bodies. So it's good to have you guys here. If you want to connect with any of the guests on the show or Jason or myself, you can always text us 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355. So, either of you guys live in city of San Diego?
Nope.
No? Okay.
San City.
Okay. I think this is going to trickle down to whatever water districts we are in. So they've been putting this big push out there lately that we need to conserve water. We're having a drought. So everybody does such a good job conserving water that now the city of San Diego is not making enough money to pay the bills. So now they're like, great job conserving water. We're going to reward you with a 16.2% increase in your water rates over the next year.
All the water departments are doing this.
Yeah, I think cities, San Diego's probably starting, and everybody's going to follow suit because they're like, well, if the biggest city in the county did it, we might as well do it. This is just jacked up.
Yes.
What are your guys' thoughts on this?
That's disgraceful. It's all about big money, I guess.
Their rationale is, we're actually delivering less water, so therefore we need to jack up the rate per water so that we can make as much revenue as we did before. How about this for an idea? Why don't you get a lot more efficient, like businesses have to do when those kinds of things happen? Right. How's that for an idea?
Right.
Good idea.
It's just like it just doesn't make sense. We do a good job. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you use too much water, then they fine you. And if you really do a good job and cut down on the water, then they just bill you more.
That's correct.
It's a lose-lose. Not a fan of this.
Not at all.
I am not a fan. We actually just did turf in our yard. So we're like, this water bill is getting a little crazy, $200-$300 a month. We're like, all right, let's do some turf, and you feel really good about it. And then something like this comes down, and you're like, why the hell did we just spend all this money?
We just finished re-landscaping to drought-tolerant plants and everything literally last weekend in our place. And guess what? You're not going to save much on our water bill because the rates are going up.
Definitely. And we talked about solar on the show last week, and you're seeing the same thing happen with SDG&E right now, is so many people are doing solar, there's less electricity being consumed, so they're doing the same thing, and they're raising the rates up on you.
That's exactly right. Well, they just got a ruling through the CPUC. One of my past lives, I was a consultant in the, believe it or not, in the energy sector, and they just got it through the CPUC. And one of the other things that's really, really, really bad, and people better take care, pay attention right now. Everybody's talking about how the end of 2016, that's the end of the federal tax credit for solar. But SDG&E, a bigger issue is what they're doing with a concept called net metering, where they're required by law to pay you or credit you, if you will, for power that you produce, that you don't use them, that you send back into the grid, where they're going to be changing that whole net metering thing so that in the future there's a possibility that people are not going to get credit for the power that they're producing from their solar, sending it back into the grid. And so therefore, all that savings that you made is going to be cut significantly.
Yeah, because we have solar on our house, so we're the hipsters. We like everything green, right? We've got solar, we've got turf, all of that stuff. And the way that it works right now is you basically run a tab throughout the year with SDG&E. So if you have a really good month where you generate more than you use, then you could actually have a negative balance owed to SDG&E. Then in the summer months when you use more electricity, then you kind of eat back into that. And at the end of the year, you square up with them.
That's correct.
So what you're saying is there will never be a negative month. There can only be a positive month.
Yes, and that's so we don't know exactly what they're going to do with this net metering, but when they do, it's not going to be as good as it is right now. That's for sure.
We should just go off the grid, guys.
Imperial County.
Yeah, let's just move way the heck out to Hucumber, somewhere in the middle of nowhere where they basically give you a plot of land. And we could just do a full solar system off the grid on batteries. We can dig a well. We could just go off the grid.
There are people in countries like South Africa who do that. They just go completely off the grid, and they have a battery backup system that they feed and so on and so forth.
I've been watching some of the shows in Alaska. I don't remember what it's called, Buying Alaska or something like that. And it's funny because half the houses they look at, some are on the grid, some are off the grid. Like, that's a crazy consideration. We don't even think about really going truly off the grid here in San Diego. But that would just it'd be pretty wild to be dependent on the land, the sun, Mother Nature.
That's correct.
Could you do it, Steve?
I think I could, yeah.
Yeah?
Probably not tomorrow, but I think I could.
We got to break our dependency on all these darn utility companies.
Got to wean into that a little bit.
I love it. So, Jason, you are back in studio. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Chargers go, Chargers.
So you're listening to
We're talking about the Aztecs now.
Yeah,
Come on,
you're listening to Whissel Wednesdays
That was
here
a
on
bummer
AM
on that Utah game. I know
1170.
that.
The Answer. Jason, I know you want to talk Aztecs. We only got a few minutes left to show. We got about 5 minutes left here. What's going on with the Aztecs?
All right, so the football's doing amazing, right? We're having one of the best runs ever on football. I'm pretty excited. The football program is back. Aztecs are back here in San Diego State, back up on the Mesa. We're excited about that. I know Paul's excited.
Absolutely.
But I'm really excited about the basketball team. We did lose Monday night to Utah, which is a really good team. They're a ranked team. They're a solid team.
Exactly. In a true road game early in the season, not worried about it. That was actually a good loss, and they only lost by 5.
And we really should have won. I mean, there were so many opportunities to win. But here's what I know, Paul. This is the best 10 players, guys, that I've ever seen, ever.
I totally agree.
30 years. Now, I've seen better 1 or 2 players, right? We don't have a true unbelievable star. We have 10 stars.
There isn't a Kawhi Leonard on this team.
There's not a Kawhi Leonard, at least not yet, that raised up.
Although, you know what? Look out for Jeremy Hemsley. He looked incredible last night, or a couple nights ago.
Yeah, he looked incredible Friday night. Monday night, he didn't look. He looked like a freshman, right? On Monday, but I think.
But you know what? He hit that big 3 to keep him in. Like he did look like a freshman at times, and it's gonna take some time.
He lost. He had a lot of turnovers on Monday.
This was his second game.
I know.
In college basketball. I'm excited about this game.
I'm telling you, as a season ticket holder and watching these guys for over 30 years, my wife cleaned up the sweat for Michael Cage and Tony Gwynn on the floor. So she was, one of the ladies. Kyle's laughing at me, so I want to make sure people understand. She literally was one of the people on the floor, one of those young kids scrubbing, the sweat as it comes off these guys on the floor. So he's looking at me like, your wife's cleaning up the sweat.
I'm just trying to figure out where you're going with this.
So where I'm going is my family has been a big Aztec supporters for years, and this is truly, everybody we've known agrees, the best 10 players we've ever had. They should do a 2-platoon system. They should find 5 starting guys, switch them back and forth, compete that way. But before we wrap up, Kyle, I don't know if you know about this. Have you heard about Senate Bill 1159?
No.
All right. On September 28, 2014, the Governor Brown, signed into law Senate Bill 1159, which means now anybody applying for a real estate license does not need to show legal proof that they're a resident of the United States or they even live in California. So that means the guys in India, the Philippines, anywhere in the world can now, with a tax ID number, and that's easy to get, a tax ID number, can have a real estate license if they can pass the exam. Now, 55% of the people passed, 45% fell. But here's what people don't know. You don't know, as one of the top real estate brokers in America, let alone San Diego, we didn't know that now he's opening up our business to everybody in the world. Anybody, including ISIS. This is scary, you guys. This is scary. Anybody can now get a real estate license. I really mean that, Kyle. I know that throws you off, but this is crazy that we allowed this to happen and no one knows. They pass bills like this. This is horrible. Horrible.
So my mind is spinning on the ways that it could actually play into your benefit, because so many of these real estate companies, mortgage companies outsource all this work out to India and to the Philippines. They could now get all that outsourced work licensed.
They can, but here's the problem. You outsource everybody's job, nobody here has a job.
I agree.
And that's what happens. I mean, I've had teachers go, won't impact me. When I told them in 2007, we're getting ready to have the worst real estate crash, be prepared. People said, Jason, I have a government check. I won't have a problem. I work for a government employer. They'll pay me. They all got laid off. Every single one who thought they had no problem, Kyle, got laid off. You know, I'm energized. I want to talk about this earlier. Sorry I had to step out and take a whistle call.
Fired up Jason Hall, Synergy One Lending. Thank you, Jason. Also joined John Medin, Steve Lauria, California Health Network, Kyle Whissel. If you want to connect with anybody on the show today, give us a call, shoot us a text, 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355. Thank you so much for listening here on AM 1170, The Answer.
We start real slow. You just put your lips together and you come real close. Can you blow my